So, good evening, everyone. I would like to announce that we are live captioning our meetings. Please look in the chat window of our WebEx meeting where you will find a link. Please click on that link to open a web page with the live captioning. So at this time, I call to order the regular meeting of the Maricopa County Community College District Governing Board for January 24, 2023. Also, for the record, I will now call a roll of members. I'll start with our student trustee, Mr. Burnett.
Present.
Thank you. Ms. Bittersmith?
Here.
Ms. Butler? I heard you. Ms. Davis?
Here.
Thank you. Dr. Narini?
Present.
Ms. Smith, I understand you're virtual with us.
Yes,
And
present. Thank
so
you.
is John.
John says hello, and I'm sorry he has a double ear infection, so
I'm
doing
so
a little
sorry.
juggling tonight.
So you're obviously present. Thank you. Dr. Thor?
Present.
Thank you. With my present, we have our full Board of Trustees available this evening. That's 7 members plus our student trustee. Also, now we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance. Ms. Bittersmith, will you lead us, please? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Bittersmith. So also for the records, we have a substitution this evening. I don't see her in the front row like last time. So we have Dr. Greg Pereira, VP of Rio Salado College, sitting in for Ms. Smith this evening. Thank you for joining us. And I understand Ms. Grenier is joining us virtually this evening. I'd like now to move to our reports and Faculty Executive Council report from Dr. Camille Newton. Please join us.
Good evening, President Sullivan, board members, Chancellor Gonzalez, members of CEC, colleagues, guests, friends here tonight. My name is Camille Newton. I am the Faculty Executive Council President, and I am very excited to present the information that we have for you tonight on the continued work in Maricopa for student support through Guided Pathways. It's a moment of pride tonight for Maricopa. We don't often take the time and get the opportunity to celebrate what the results can be when we collaborate together. And tonight's presentation is exactly about that kind of collaboration. We are under the Chancellor's leadership of faculty, staff, and administration. They have supported students by creating the first year experience designed to help students persist through their first year. So next slide, please. Oh, and I'm standing here with my person next to me. In the spirit of that collaboration, I am not going to present alone tonight. I am here with our resident Guided Pathways guru and expert administrator, Dr. Meredith Warner, District Director of Academic and Student Affairs. Eventually, I'll let her speak too. I won't forget that. We're going to go to the next slide now, please. So after that really excited introduction, the next slide is kind of a bummer, but this is the why of our work. As you can see from that slide, Maricopa's retention %. That's not exciting. That means we are losing almost half of our students who start and come to us in the first year by the end of that first year. More than 30% of them are not continuing from fall to spring. So in the first semester alone, that's about 30%. Obviously, none of us are satisfied with that, right? This is an indication of an opportunity because students are coming to us with dreams and desires for careers and transfer, and they are not leaving with that at the end of their time with us in that first year. So the slide is the why of the work that we're talking about tonight. The next slide is a little bit about the how. So could we get the next slide, please? We decided that we needed to focus on that first year experience as part of the Guided Pathways framework. That first year experience and the Guided Pathways framework encompassed several areas of work, one of which was integrated student support. We knew we needed to create a team that was focused on supporting students from the minute they thought about Maricopa, we were a glimmer in their eye, until they left us. But more importantly, that first slide convinced the ISS, or the Integrated Student Support Team, that we needed to specifically focus on that first year and provide that first year experience. They created a task force. So between the ISS and that first year experience task force, it was the work of all the folks across all the colleges in all areas of the work that we do. So staff, faculty, administration, we're all focused on this work. They came together and said, let's create learning outcomes for that first year experience. So faculty who were working on pathway mapping came in and said, you know what, the work that we're doing to create learning outcomes in courses can be leveraged to do the same work for first year experience. So faculty led deans, VPs, faculty in disciplines, they led student support advisors, career advisors. They led those folks through the development of learning outcomes. As a result of that work that focused on what do we want students to get, we said, what common experience can we give to students to make sure that we reach those learning outcomes? And that, the team decided, was a first year experience course. And so faculty led, again, a cross-disciplinary, cross-functional team of faculty, staff, and administration, faculty in disciplines including counseling, English, math, and library, deans, VPs, advisors. I don't want to forget people here. So deans, VPs, advisors, vice presidents, learning enhancement and learning support staff, career advisors, and student life representatives from across the 10 colleges and the district. The goal was an all-encompassing course, so it took the not always easy collaboration of all those people together to create those courses. We read together, we reached out to peer colleges to find out about best practices. We consulted data from Guided Pathways experts. We argued and compromised and wrangled and collaborated to produce the FYE curriculum. Collaboration isn't always easy, but it's exhilarating when it works. So that's the why and the how. Meredith is going to share the results of all that good work.
Thank you, Camille. President Sullivan, members of the board. So you can see on this next slide, we were really excited to build an FYE course, but we also recognized that we couldn't build just one. So we built two, because we understood that we had students that had greater need, and that those who perhaps just need to come to us to have a common Maricopa experience. We hear all the time in the governing board meetings that we need to make the process of learning about Maricopa easier for our students. And so we have a 1-credit course and a 3-credit course. And the beauty of this is that we made it a graduation requirement. So any student who is degree or transfer seeking in Maricopa is now required to take one of the 2 FYE courses. We designed a decision tree with the faculty to make sure that we could help our advisors and help our students make good decisions about which course was best for them. And then it went off for the first time in the fall of 2023. So we just finished our first round of FYE courses. Over 8,000 students in Maricopa went through an FYE course, over 300 sections, hundreds of faculty from across all disciplines, to include advising, discipline faculty, CTE faculty, your deans, your VPs. Everyone has taught the FYE course. We built one single development course together. So all of our students are learning essentially the same materials, a common Maricopa experience. So let's talk about the good stuff. Let's go to the next slide. So hot off the press, I asked our amazing data analytics team in ITS to help share with us what it looks like now. In one semester, you can see the difference between the students who took an FYE course and those who did not. Across Maricopa's 10 colleges, if you took an FYE course, 80% persisted into the spring. And if you did not, 63% of you persisted. 17 percentage points greater if you took an FYE course. Even better than that, some of our colleges saw percentages like Paradise Valley of upwards of 27% increase in persistence to the spring. I hope you can all sit here and look and see we are working together to make the experience and the success opportunities for our students better. I am hopeful that we are standing up here again in another year to talk about fall to fall retention. And 2 years from now, to talk about how we helped our students complete their goals. That is our dream, and this is the start. And we are so excited to have collaborated together on this. Thank you.
Normally, we don't do questions, but I think with what you're presenting tonight, there could be a possibility of some questions. So board members, if you have any question, let me know. If not, what we're doing is celebrating your successes and anticipating those reports. 1 and 2 years from now, we'll all be here,
Do it.
We'll be back.
right? Any questions? Ms. Davis?
My question is, was this offered just to freshman students maybe coming out of high school, or was it offered to students coming back to college with no degree?
Thank you, Ms. Davis. It was offered to all degree and transfer seeking students who started a new degree plan in the fall semester. So whether you were a high school student coming in, whether you were a student who took dual classes, whether you were somebody who previously was in a certificate program and now enrolled in a degree program. So it didn't matter. You could be a returning student, a high school student. All students take the Common Maricopa experience.
Thank you. Mr. Burnett?
Just one question, and the program looks phenomenal, and I was trying to get into the class, but I signed up too late.
We'll take you
Oops.
next semester.
Next semester, I'm taking it. I'll be there. But my question was the 51% prior to this program starting. Why do you think that is? What was the major cause of that?
So I think it's a lot of factors, right? I think when we look at our Ruffalo Noel Levitt survey, we see that students are seeking engagement, they're seeking connections, they're seeking ways to speak to our academic advisors. One of the things we were very intentional about in this class was to ensure that every student who took the class had an opportunity to have a comprehensive individual education plan with their advisor by the end of the term. Some of us gave extra credit to our students if they registered for the subsequent semester. So I'm giving everybody good advice, right? But that was a goal of it, was the idea that they could connect and engage with people around the campus. Our students also tell us regularly that when they're in trouble, there isn't typically somebody that they know they can go to. And in the FYE class, we sort of built those sort of mechanisms around the students so they would know who all of their resources were, whether in their field of interest or simply in their class.
We know there are lots of factors, and we're not saying that this is like the magic answer, but frankly, results like that they still deserve attention and continued focus and celebration and continued work, right? So we just wanted to share.
Thank you. We like the C word, collaboration. So good job. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Sure. We'll move on now to the Adjunct Faculty Association report. Mr. Frankowek. I never pronounce your name correctly.
It was a gift from my father. And so I just, it's okay. I answered anything close.
So say it one more time for me, please.
I'm sorry, what?
Your last name one more time.
Frankowiak.
Franco. Okay,
That's
we all learned. Thank you.
You got to stretch out though a little bit before to really get,
I will do my best.
so
Thank
it's,
you.
it's my whole life every time I submit.
Sense of
Anyway, enough with the
humor.
comment. Sorry, thank you. So adjunct faculty report for 2023, we're right in the middle of the 2022-23 school year at the hyphen. So please, next, I wanted to mention some of our continuing initiatives and then later some of our new initiatives that we're going to be starting this semester. So our continuing initiatives, we're both working on the revising our governing documents, and we're also working on creating an adjunct faculty handbook. And I just, the smart money is don't bet against either of those initiatives happening because it's going along. So next slide, please. Our new initiatives that are starting out, now that we're fully manned and have a lot more folks on the committee, we're restarting our awards addition, the awards committee is meeting tomorrow to restart the program that has been on hiatus for the past couple of years. So everyone's really excited about that. Once we announced that we were doing that, it kind of put the wind back in the sails of a few of our members who were on the committee, I think, partially because they're specifically interested in that particular initiative. So it was great getting that started again. That was really good. Also, if you notice, every time up here, I try to mention, I'm always talking about Dr. Smith or Dr. Britt, Dr. Lair, or Dr. Ray helping us out, or when someone really goes out of their way to go above and beyond to, engage and, excuse me, to engage and include adjuncts in different aspects of campus affairs. And I have to say that really makes a big difference in the quality of our organization. So we're just looking at some ways we can just maybe, more than just mentioning, I hope you'll at least recognize that when we do mention their names, that it really means something. So I wanted to make a point of that. So, and then next slide, please. Elections. During our next semester, our employee group will be holding elections. We have staggered elections, so we have continuity of leadership while we're going along. I have to say, that our two vice presidents are going to be leaving at the end of the semester. They have term limited out. They've already gone past the time they should. And I'm mentioning they're leaving now because at the end of the semester, we're going to have a lot of people who are mentioning departing colleagues. And they'll mention gratitude for them. And I want to mention gratitude for their service now so that it stands out as much as their professional abilities have stood out in assisting us running the organization. I really think it's very important that when we do have elections coming up, we elect people with the good sense to benefit from their mentorship and carry on the work that they have been doing as they serve out their own term. So I'd like to really thank Catherine Hawkins and Deb Adley of the association for their service as vice presidents, and I hope that it punctuates mentioning that now. So next slide, please. The faculty convocation. I was very happy to report that we were included in that. And I have to say that when you are judging as a group, our faculty participation, our participation in that event, that you realize that the part-time nature of adjunct faculty maybe underrepresents our count and how much we'd actually like to be there. So I also want to mention that the ability to attend live or in person really helped us, really helps adjuncts. Because all of the other commitments they need to balance and make as they're serving, kind of dancing to two different tunes. So I just hope that when all that data comes out, you realize we had a good reason for maybe being a little underrepresented more than we would have liked to have been. So thank you. And if I could just go one more on that one. Next slide. Sorry. Inclusion. I also wanted to say that we're very pleased to announce that Dr. Kelly invited us to a standing meeting, adjunct faculty check-in. That's really nice. We have a direct channel of communication with human resources now, and that's just fantastic. So I really appreciate that. We also appreciate being included on the executive search committees. I think that's an important thing that always excites our members. Everybody's always excited to participate and, have a say and see people in $2,000 pants come in and look for the job,
Who has $2,000 pants?
I think some of them do. I mean, that's not how you're judging which guy's gonna, do our, I'm just saying, people dress nice for interviews. That's,
I'm pretty impressed.
so, and it's hard to get $2,000 pants. So, we thank you for that. And also, I want you to know that most adjuncts are seeking greater involvement within the MCCCD. That's part of the nature of the job, right? You're looking for wanting to be included more. And of course, this inclination is reflected in our employee group as a whole. So we're a skilled group of people who are dedicated to the cause and interested in helping out where we can. So next slide, please. Thank you. So I appreciate having the opportunity to give you these monthly reports. I want to close by saying that the adjuncts provide direct service to about 50% of our organization's customers. We're the face of our organization to a large portion of those whose attendance, success, and willingness to sign back up with us determines our own success. So thank you, the board, for continuing this direct channel of communication with us and allowing me to speak to you for a short time every month and let you know how things are going and what we're up to. So thank you. And I ran off last time. I'm supposed to wait.
You're fine.
All right, thanks. I'll see you later. Thanks.
Thank you for your report this evening. We'll now move to the staff representation update with Ms. Manger and Mr. Duval. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. President Sullivan, members of the board, Chancellor Gonzalez, members of CEC and guests. My name is Shannon Manji, and I'm before you today as co-president for staff representation, along with my colleague Calvin Duvall. Next slide, please. I want to give a big congratulations to President Sullivan and Ms. Bittersmith for your elected roles on the board. We look forward to providing you these updates. We hope you enjoy them as much as we enjoy giving them, and we look forward to working with you and collaborating with you throughout the year. We also would like to give a huge shout out. If I could, I would say let's give all our frontline staff a standing ovation for all the hard work that they did in getting our students ready for spring semester 2023. They are on the road to success. Our M&O custodians and groundskeepers, thank you so much for making our campuses beautiful, safe, healthy, and ready to welcome back our students. I am so happy to be on campus and see students walking around. Might be a little biased and loving the beautiful trees and green grass at PVCC, but I know all 10 campuses are just as beautiful. And just a heads up, we are also coming up on our elections process and staff representation. So colleagues, you will be seeing lots of emails coming from us to self-nominate and serve for staff representation. And we look forward to working with our leadership in support of our staff self-nominating for these roles. Next slide, please. As you know, staff representation, we like to highlight an awareness or heritage month. This month is Poverty in America Awareness Month. And you'll see tons of links on your screen. You can get those from the board docs in our presentation. You will see that many campuses, just to name a few on the slide in front of you, have many opportunities to assist in the concern for poverty with our students, including some employees that may be in that bucket as well. So we have for example, at PVCC, we have a Puma pantry where students can get free food and supplies. There's also little pantries throughout the campus. They could grab a snack if they need so. PVCC is hosting 2 Poverty Awareness Month films in their library. Phoenix College, they host baby showers that is open to students and employees for parents who are expecting or have recently had a child to come and get supplies for their newborn child. And I just think that is just wonderful. So we look forward to everyone taking a look at those initiatives. Please share with your employees, with your students, all these that are out there. Next slide, please. If you're having difficulty finding this information on your campus website, maricopa.edu has a basic needs website for the community, and it links to all 10 campuses and the services that they provide. So we hope that by highlighting this information, we can get this out to the community and those that are in need. I now turn it over to Calvin.
Good evening. Next slide, please. We wanted to highlight our Phoenix College reps this evening. Paradise Valley.
Wow, join the club. I do that.
I'm not going to forget about that one. Okay. Alexis
People are
Romeo. Yeah,
People forgive you easily, trust me.
I hope so. Alexis Romo, non-exempt counsel. Laura Mestinski from non-exempt counsel. Yolanda Rayon from non-exempt counsel. Next slide. Josh Moss, exempt counsel, also the PVCC senator, also vice president of staff representation, and Greg Meza, the sworn officer counsel. Next slide. So we wanted to remind everyone to keep calm, have a great semester. The spring has started off, and we have a lot of wonderful things to look forward to. So thank you to everyone. Next slide. And of course, if you have any questions, here's information on how you can find us on our website, or information about staff representation if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we'll give everyone that you recommended a notation. All right, we will now move to our student life report. Chandler Gilbert Community College Student Life and Leadership. Welcome. Delighted to have you with us.
Good evening, President Sullivan, members of the board, Dr. Gonzalez, members of the CEC, and guests. My name is Billy McIntyre. I'm an electrical engineering student and student body president at Chandler Gilbert Community College. I'd like to start my report with a story. Actually, 20 years ago, my mom attended Chandler Gilbert Community College. And while she was there, she took me to an event featuring a Navajo code talker. Excuse me. I've always been interested in history, so this was a really cool event for me. But what was what I was most enamored with was college life. I was never a great student. I felt uncomfortable participating in school activities or showing spirit. I never had someone who took interest in me or tried to get me involved in school either. And in fact, in 10th grade, I had a teacher tell me that I should drop out of high school. So I did. I got my GED and briefly attended Chandler Gilbert Community College when I was 16. I still was not a very good student. I kept to myself, flew under the radar, didn't get involved in any school activities, and I lacked a sense of community and belonging, so I dropped out again. I would regret this decision for most of my life. But life goes on. I found a career, I had a child, but something was always missing from my life. I wanted to continue my education. I finally got to a point where I could return to school, and I came to Chandler Gilbert and met with my academic advisor. He was immediately very welcoming and personable, and for the last 3 years, he's gone above and beyond to help me out whenever I needed anything. I decided this time around I was going to make the most of my educational experience. In my second semester at CGCC, I joined the coding club and volunteered to be the communications officer for the coding club. The next semester, I became the vice president of the coding club and was able to help plan events at the school. While this was still a rewarding position and taught me a lot of valuable skills as a student leader, I felt there was more that I could do for my school and for my community. I decided to apply for student senator. I got the interview, but not the position. However, I was asked if I'd ever considered joining student government. This will be my fourth semester serving as student body president. As president, I've had the opportunity to provide service to the school and community through volunteer work and serving as the voice of the student body. I recently had the opportunity to volunteer at Matthews Crossing, the organization that supplies our food pantry. And together we serviced over 1,100 students and faculty to assist in attempts to meet their basic needs and relieve the stresses of food insecurity. I recently had the opportunity to bring my community college experience full circle. Next slide, please. While attending a ceremony honoring Navajo Code Talkers at the Arizona Capitol, I met Don Manuelito, a descendant of Private James Manuelito, United States Marine Corps, an original Navajo Code Talker. I explained my position at CGCC and how I'd be honored if we could get her to present at our school. Together with help of faculty, we were able to facilitate Don's presentation during our Indigenous Voices in STEM series, which took place during Native American Heritage Month. As I look to graduate from CGCC this semester, I reflect on the difference being part of student life has made on my educational experience. Without the connections, community, and skills that I've gained in my roles here, I do not feel that I would have been successful. Next slide. One of our main goals in student life has been to increase student involvement in the college and our local communities. As you may be aware, student involvement has decreased since the pandemic. We are, however, proud to inform you that we have had 3 new clubs formed since last semester, fall of 22. We have the Fashion Institute Design and Merchandising Club, the Exercises Medicine Club, and the Book Club form. Now that more students are returning to campus, we continue to take steps to increase participation. Next slide. Tomorrow will be the beginning of our semester's club fair, where we'll have food and games and kind of like an actual fair. Next slide. We started a group that we call the Pavilion Pack, which is open for any student to join. Pavilion Pack is designed for students who would like to be involved in clubs and organizations, but don't necessarily have the time to make a full commitment. Next slide, please. I'd also like to spotlight our Asian Pacific Islander Club, who've had very successful events this year, including a spicy noodle challenge and karaoke in our student pavilion. I'd like to bring these events to your attention because faculty and staff actually participated in these events, including our college president, Dr. Greg Peterson. These events worked to bring students and staff together on a common level. In student life and leadership at CGCC, we strive to make a positive influence in our local community, create opportunities for growth and leadership on our campus, and build and nurture connections with students that will last a lifetime. Just as the Code Talker event stuck with me for over 20 years, I hope that our impact here will motivate and inspire others as it has done for me. Thank you all for your time.
Very impressive, Mr. McIntyre. I can tell the whole audience was moved by your story and your success. So we're all very, very proud of you. And one thing I'd like to talk to the board about in this regard, it was a recommendation from one of our new board members, Ms. Davis, that perhaps we consider putting the student life report first on our agenda, because we believe our investment together with you is what's really important. And so thank you for inspiring us this evening, and board members, with your approval, I think in the future, we'd like to move this to the top of our agenda, the student life report. I kind of see that as unanimous. Yes, sir. See? You
Nice idea.
change all the times. Anyway, and thank you, Ms. Davis, for your recommendation.
Well, he's a total example of why that's so important because he was so motivating. We really appreciate your story tonight. It was awesome.
Thank you again. We do have some emeritus awards and recognitions this evening. We have 5. I understand they're in the audience. So if I call your name, please come to the podium with your president. I have Mr. Jaime Herrera. I'm told you're here. Ms. Macias, do I understand this correctly? I'm told none of them are here this evening. Okay, well, thank you. Would you like to acknowledge your emeritus?
Absolutely.
Thank you
acknowledge.
very much.
I'm ready.
Okay.
Board Chair Sullivan, Board of Governors, members, Chancellor Gonzalez, CEC members, staff, faculty, our general public. It's great to be here. I'm Dr. Tammy Robinson, President of Mesa Community College. I am very honored to just give you a few moments and let you know about Jaime Herrera. Jaime Herrera served Mesa Community College and MCCCD for over 30 years, contributing a positive impact on students, colleagues, and members of our community. In addition to teaching English and Chicano studies courses, Jaime served on many hiring committees as a mentor and new faculty, and as an advocate for diversity. He served as the District Diversity Faculty Recruitment Director for 2 years. Jaime provided outstanding leadership as the Program Director of Maricopa Study Abroad Program in Mexico for over 20 years, taking hundreds of Maricopa students and faculty to Mexico for an enriching academic and cultural experience. He also established and led the Maricopa Faculty Development Program in Mexico for 15 years, taking over 100 Maricopa faculty to Mexico for an enriching academic and cultural experience. Professor Herrera could not be here tonight, but let's please give him a round of applause for 30 years of service. And I will accept this on his behalf.
Thank you very much. Then we also have Dr. Kirk Bowden. Thank you. You're representing him this evening.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
President Sullivan, members of the board, Chancellor Gonzalez, CEC, and guests, I'm Dr. Greg Pereira, Vice President of Student Affairs. And on behalf of President Smith and Rio Salado College, we are honoring 4 incredible faculty members this evening. They were also unable to join us because they are living their best life in retirement. One has already moved to Europe. 2 others are out of state. So we're very happy they're not with us because they're doing wonderful things, but we'll keep some brief remarks for them. Dr. Bowden contributed to Rio Salado College in incredible ways and to the field of addictions and substance abuse disorders. Dr. Bowden is the past president of the Association of Addiction Professionals and past chair of the NASAC and the Board of Behavioral Health Examiners. He also provided advice and expert testimony about the opioid epidemic, including a 2017 congressional briefing hosted by the American Counseling Association. He's been awarded numerous awards and was absolutely integral in the work that's going on in our state around addictions and substance abuse disorders. So please join me in honoring him and what he contributed to the state.
Thank you.
Next is Bob Semler. He served at Rio Salado College as the faculty chair of biology for the past 20 years. In that time, he had numerous academic innovations that he piloted, including a virtual microscope for online students to participate in scientific lab simulations. They could actually use a microscope virtually, which was a pretty incredible innovation that's been replicated multiple times. His dedication was also very clear to student accessibility, and especially with his work in Rio's textbook savings program. He was individually responsible for saving hundreds of dollars for each student by going to open educational resources. So we thank him for all his incredible work as well. Dr. Carrie Specker was named Rio Salado College's Faculty Chair of Computer Technology in 2004 after serving for 13 years in various roles at the college. During that time, she made notable contributions to the discipline, the college, and the district. She received multiple awards for her advanced work as a Rio faculty member, and she also served as our Faculty Senate President, Honors Program Director, and mentor for new faculty. She conducted research on the student experience with predictive analytics and helped establish the student-centered academic integrity process. In 2018, Dr. Specker received the League of Innovation and John and Suzanne Rausch Excellence Award, honoring outstanding contributions and leadership by community college faculty, and we thank her for those contributions. And finally, Dr. Janine Atkins joined Rio Salado College as Faculty Chair of Humanities in 2000. During that time, she made significant contributions to her discipline and the college. In addition to providing oversight for her department, she chaired the college's Civic Participation Steering Committee and served as facilitator for Rio's new employee orientation. In 2002, she received the Women's Leadership Group / American Association of Women in Community Colleges of Maricopa Community Colleges Distinguished Achievement Award, which is the longest award I've ever heard, but deservingly so, because she also served as Rio Salado College's Phi Theta Kappa advisor and all academic team director for over 15 years, during which she won numerous awards for the college as well as the district. It's also worth noting that all four were hired by our President Emeritus, Dr. Linda Thor, who's with us this evening. So we also thank her.
Yes, you do.
And she hired very well, as they all did incredible things. So thank you and congratulations to the recipients.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. And thank you, Dr. Thor. Now we'll move into our Chancellor report. Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, President Sullivan, members of the board, CEC, and guests that are with us this evening. A few things I'd like to update you on. Since we last met, we officially started the spring semester, and I'm happy to report that for our second consecutive semester, after several semesters where we faced low enrollment, or loss of enrollment, I should say, we're up. Our head count is up 2.2%, and our FTSE is up 3.2% as of this Friday. And that's coming off of a fall semester where we had very similar numbers. And so we are clawing our way back up. And I want to thank and congratulate the faculty and staff, our advisors, our recruiters, and all of those that are behind the scenes in a technological sense, making these things happen and changing some of our processes to aid in the increase in enrollment. And so good work there. And I want to give a special shout out to a couple of the colleges that are experiencing some tremendous return on their enrollment. And specifically, Estrella had 10.9% increase. PC had an 8.3%, and Gateway had 5.4%. And so I know that the other colleges are right there, and it's not that they're doing anything different or less or more of. It's how it's shaping up, and we're looking forward to continuing to see our enrollment increase moving forward. Always scares me when Jordan comes up behind me and making sure my
At least
laptop's
it's not
still
an
working
echo.
here.
No echoes.
Last week, I had the privilege to attend WDI, or the Workforce Development Institute, as I shared with you all, in Palm Springs, California, sunny Palm Springs, California. And that is a conference that is put on by the American Association of Community Colleges, where I was invited to present on our work in micro-credentialing and rapid skilling programs. So I'm always honored to be able to share the work that our faculty and staff administrators put together, because I'm telling you, it is innovative. It excels out there, and they gravitate towards it, and they want more of it. And I come back and make the personal connections for the folks that are in the audience. The kickoff of that conference began with the welcome from Dr. Bumpus, who's the CEO of AACC. And then followed by that was a panel where our very own Dr. Greg Peterson was invited to present on Maricopa's work with artificial intelligence. And so you would have been tremendously proud of him and his team, the work that was shared in front of a group of more than 600 people, one of the largest conferences that they've had since the pandemic started. And Greg did a really good job of also giving some accolades to his fellow presidents that weren't there in attendance. And so, yes, he mentioned Estrella Mountain, Dr. Rivera, and the other colleges involved in the artificial intelligence work. So good work, and it's really good to be seen as an innovator on this national scene like that, so our national stage, I should say. I also want to report some technological wins that we've had recently. We started, as I said, we just started the spring semester, and this is the 9th consecutive semester where we've had a 100% uptime and no issues as the semester started. And if you spent any time in Maricopa before that, we always kept our fingers crossed, hung ourselves upside down, did whatever we could do to make sure that these things weren't going to happen, and they would. But I want to congratulate Dr. Cohen and Matt and his team, and all of those behind the scenes that are making sure that everything is connected and ready to roll out so that students have that seamless process. As obvious as this one might seem, or as a why haven't we always done it this way approach, through technology, we created Admit on Demand, which gives a student an opportunity that when they've enrolled in a college and they've gone through the admissions process and they're actually registering for classes, they will be told that there are classes available at other colleges, and in that moment can just click a button and be admitted to that college now. This was rolled out in December, and these are some staggering numbers. It was launched December 20 of 2022, so this was over our winter break. And we had 4,700 plus students who have used Admit on Demand. And these were stats that from the day that we launched this to January 20th, from that stemmed 2,400 plus enrollments. That means that we found a way to capture 2,400 students with the click of a button to give them an opportunity to swirl. We know this happens, but we just made it that much easier. And what was happening before is that if a student wanted to take a class at Gateway and then wanted to go to Estrella and then wanted to go to PV, they were going to have to go through 3 admissions processes to do that. So I want to thank everyone who has worked on that. Bettina Sellis and her team, our IT folks, I mean, they've put in countless hours, and thank you for everybody on that. Legislative update, we're just over 2 weeks into the 2023 legislative session, and legislation related to our key priorities this year is in process. So regarding expenditure limitation, Representative Tim Dunn introduced House Bill 2025, which is mirrored by Senator TJ Shope's Senate Bill 1082. Each bill provides temporary expenditure limit relief by reducing the penalty for districts that exceed their expenditure limits. That relief is applicable for 3 years. And a long-term solution is still needed. And what that will look like is currently in discussion with policymakers. In fact, there's even discussion on a possible statewide ballot referral. And so we're going to provide more updates as we progress down that road. Regarding dual enrollments, Senator Kaiser, a good friend of Maricopa, will introduce the dual enrollment bill backed by Greater Phoenix Chamber, Helios, and the Maricopa system. The team behind the bill is working on finalizing language before the formal introduction of the bill, but the bill will essentially mirror the governor's budget proposal, which included $20.5 million for dual enrollment. These funds would offer low-income students a $50 reimbursement per credit hour, up to 6 credit hours for students in grade 9 and 10, and up to 12 credit hours for students in grade 11 and 12. This has a tremendous opportunity to change things in Maricopa County, specifically with the Maricopa colleges, as we are often seen as the premier partner of our high schools in and around the valley when it comes to dual enrollment. So we're really keeping our fingers crossed on this. So again, we'll continue to update you on this one. Finally, as a third objective for the session, we will be seeking the expansion of approved. Let me change my finger here. Oh, wait a minute, I don't have to hold it down. My goodness.
It's magic now.
The expansion of approved uses for Arizona Promise Program dollars to include college tuition. Details of this proposal are still in development and updates will be provided as soon as we have them. Tomorrow is Community College Day at the Capitol, and 9 of our 10 colleges will be hosting tents on the Capitol lawn to showcase the diverse selection of our programs. We will also be hosting a reception for legislators at CEI Lab Force in the evening, where all are welcome to attend. So we hope to see you there. And in advance, I want to thank the colleges and their teams for showing up tomorrow. That takes a lot of time and energy to do that, but we hope that it's a productive day. So come out and see what we're doing, and it also gives you a chance to see what other community colleges are doing from across our state. On the federal legislative side, last week our staff worked with Senator Kirsten Sinema's team to host a roundtable discussion with leaders from across Maricopa County about priorities for the 118th Congress at the Forge. The event was a huge success, and it gave Dr. Diaz, our interim president of Gateway, the opportunity to talk about Maricopa's programs and the needs with the senator and other local official. As I understand, there were several mayors in attendance as well. So we're always happy to host and convene those events on our sites because it gives our elected officials an opportunity to see how we are investing the dollars that they allocate to us. So President Sullivan, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Now we move to citizens interim, and as we know, this is an opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board. As a reminder, in compliance with the open meeting law, the governing board will neither discuss nor take action raised during this portion of the agenda. Also, certainly we always expect civil behavior, and we also limit the presentation to 3 minutes. So this evening, we have Ms. LaJuan Pleasant, who once again would like to present to us at Citizens Interim. Good evening, Ms. Pleasant.
Good evening, Madam President. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Chancellor Gonzalez, how are you? And governing board members, CEC, family and friends. My name is LaJuan Pleasant, and I've approached you many times before. Once again, I'm coming to you with a saddened heart. Once again, it's been going on 4 years now. Our board has not changed much. We've got 2 new members. I'm going to start this off by just reiterating that I was terminated after filing my complaint of discrimination and retaliation after my supervisor struck me, okay? This is my number 1 concern. Retaliation against any participant involved in or contacted during the course of an investigation is strictly prohibited. Any retaliatory action by supervisors, managers, administrators, or other employees who have the authority to take action against a complaint or witness is prohibited and may be grounds for disciplinary action. As I indicated to you before, I have received hundreds of pages from the Ombudsman's office, and now I've got information that I was going to share with Ms. Falkenberg, but I've let her know I'll send that to her so that we're more discreet. That confirms that the person who hit me violated her right to employment standards. That's your 6.7. The following constitutes grounds for disciplinary action and up to including termination of any Maricopa County Community College District employee as outlined by the respective policy manual. Making a false statement of or in failing to disclose a material fact, willful and intentional violation of any state or federal law, applicable ordinance, MCC governing board policy, or MCCD administrative regulation that affects the employee's ability to perform his or her job. Now, today, I went and filed a complaint to the Arizona State Bar Association against Stacy Gabriel. She's the person who y'all hired to conduct this supposedly fact-finding investigation when I filed my complaint against the retaliatory actions that happened to me. I've attempted many times to make contact with the board, Chancellor Gonzalez, but to no avail. So with that, I'm going to leave you with the next appropriate action that might occur. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pleasant. Now I'd like to move to the consideration for the consent agenda items. All items under this section of the agenda are consent matters unless they are removed from the consent agenda at this time. Do any board members or the chancellor wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Being no such request, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda that was reviewed at agenda review 2 weeks ago?
So
Uh,
moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dr. Narini. All those in favor of supporting the consent agenda as presented, please vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, the consent agenda is approved. Oh, sorry, Mr. Burnett, I need to call you out specifically. Do you, what is your vote?
I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
My vote is aye.
Thank you. So with the vote of 7-0 and the student advisory vote, also the consent agenda is approved. Thank you for that. Now I'd like us to move to the non-consent action item. And we are here to seek approval of 2 new MOUs of understanding for the 22-23 faculty agreement that were discussed at a work session a few times ago. So with that, do I have a motion to adopt the 2 memorandum as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Dr. Thor. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. So there's been a motion presented and seconded to move this forward. I will start with the vote of the student advisor trustee. Your vote on this action item?
I vote aye.
Thank you. Board members, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries 7-0 with the student advisor voting aye. Thank you. We'll now move into the next agenda items. Are there any questions or comments on item G1, employment and separations for November 5, 22 through December 16, 22? Being none, are there any comments or questions on item H1, budget analysis report for Fund 1? Any comments or questions? Being none, we'll move to item H2, budget analysis report Fund 1. Again, for the month ending 12/31/2022. Are there any comments or questions? Being none, we'll now move to community linkage reports. And Mr. Burnett, I'd like to start with you. Do you have anything to report this evening?
Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Ms. Bittersmith?
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. I do have several things to report. First of all, I attended my first ACCT public policy meeting virtually several weeks ago, and will be going with many members of the board to Washington, D.C. in a couple of weeks, very cold Washington, D.C., for my first in-person meeting on the federal legislative agenda, which for some of the board members you will see revealed in a virtual online Zoom session next week, but we'll have conversations about it at the meeting in Washington, D.C. Secondly, I was greatly privileged to attend the Fountain Hills Kiwanis meeting a week or so ago. And my role there was to talk about all the wonderful things that the district is doing. And we got great reception of that message, but more importantly, to help recognize scholarship recipients at the club funds that attend, specifically Dr. Lashinsky, SCC, and met a number of students, some of them who had very compelling stories. And the money that the Fountain Hills group has raised has been really helpful to them. Thirdly, on behalf of the board's PAC committee, I want to again reiterate what Dr. Gonzalez reported in terms of our legislative agenda. That list was absolutely accurate, as not unexpectedly. But more importantly, we do have our reception tomorrow evening for legislators, and if you're available to attend, we certainly encourage you to do that. And that is my report.
Thank you very much. Ms. Butler.
Am I doing it? Okay, thank you, President Sullivan. Well, we have been very busy being onboarded and learning as much as we can, as quickly as we can about being a productive board member. That has been a very fun process. Really fun to be able to participate was it last week or the week before in the CEC's strategic planning process, and being in a room with so many of you talking about the vision and the mission of our colleges was extremely inspiring. And I was really, really pleased to be there and hear how just wonderful ideas. So looking forward to going to the conference, the ACCT conference in Washington as well. I keep saying I need to learn a lot because I don't even know what I don't know. So I'm looking forward to that conference and just learning as much as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Butler. Ms. Davis.
I echo what Ms. Butler just said.
Okay. Thank you. Dr. Narini.
Thank you, Ms. Sullivan. Yes, I too attended the CEC workshop. That was very helpful. And nothing else to report, but I do want to acknowledge the passing of Roddy Randon from PC, our resident faculty there. His loss from communication, his loss is going to be felt big time at PC and in the district. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you, Dr. Narini. Ms. Smith. I believe she has.
I just want to say I really appreciate
there you
the
are.
presentations from this evening. I really appreciated the presentations from this evening. Also appreciated the strategic planning meeting, but I do not have anything else further to report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Dr. Thor.
Thank you. Just a few things. One, I was absolutely delighted yesterday when I read Community College Daily, where they were announcing the finalists for this year's American Association of Community Colleges Awards of Excellence. And one of the 4 nominees for Faculty of the Year is Wanda Tucker of Rio Salado College. So that's a wonderful recognition of her, of Rio Salado, and of Maricopa. Like Dr. Narini, I want to acknowledge the passing of retired Dean Sylvia Hantla, who was Dean of Students at Rio Salado for many, many years. And she's featured, an article about her is featured in this week's Maricopan. And she was loved by her coworkers and her students alike and left a wonderful legacy of service at Rio Salado and at Maricopa. And then finally, last month, I talked about the fact that I'm working with the League for Innovation with the Executive Leadership Institute for Aspiring College Presidents. And we resumed part 2 of the Institute this week. And as I mentioned last month, we have 8 Maricopans in this year's cohort, including Frank Wilson and Sandra Hinsky, who are here tonight. And we have a highlight tomorrow with the new president's panel, who are graduates of the Executive Leadership Institute who went on to become college presidents. And included in the panel of 4 tomorrow is Dr. Ray Rivera. So we're all looking forward to hearing the tales of his first few years as a college president. So thank you, Dr. Rivera, for your support of those who will follow you. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Thor. It's my turn. I'd like to first say congratulations and thank you to all of you who participated in our retreat around the strategic planning. I thought it was a wonderful day, and I appreciated the goodwill, the listening, the participation, a little bit of tension when it was a word over ignite or burn or something. But it was really refreshing and inspiring to be part of that dialogue, seeking a common outcome. And I want to do a shout out to the planners. That would be Kathy Hernandez, Camille Newton, Eddie Jenna, and Dr. David Borofsky in the back, who is the executive director of our Arizona ACCT, who put the day together for all of us. And I don't think I heard one criticism. So love that C word, collaboration, commitment, and I guess those are two words. And just thought it was a great day. So thank you. And thank you, board members, for being participatory with staff and being inspired as well by what you learned and what you engaged in participating. And I've looked forward to more, Dr. Gonzalez, not just around strategic planning, but I think we're all interested in moving the dialogue forward in concert around other issues. So anyway, that's my big shout out for that. Would like to acknowledge also that I'll be traveling to DC with my colleagues. I happen to serve on 3 committees. No, just two. I can't remember now. 2 committees. And I'm excited that our new board members, Ms. Davis and Ms. Butler, will be attending the training. I remember when Dr. Narini and I kind of stumbled into that room, how many years ago now? 4 years ago? And thought, oh my gosh, what does it mean to really be a community college trustee, and trying to learn it all in one sitting. It took us 2 years. So good point, 4 years. It took us 2 commitment sessions, and I'm sure the 2 of you are going to get it in 1. So looking forward to that. So I have several items of business. The first one is, as you know, at the first board meeting of the year, we make announcements and commitments as board members to serve on different committees. So I'd like to, for the record, read out what we're planning for this year. We have Ms. Davis, who will be serving on our Audit and Finance Committee. Thank you for that, Ms. Davis. Our Foundation Committee, which we know with our esteemed director, Mr. Spicker, is one of the most important committees for the system, will be served by Dr. Narini and Ms. Butler. But also, in addition, Ms. Bittersmith is serving as the Heroes Chair for this year. So she's working really hard already. Co-chair, she reminds me, but we all know Ms. Bittersmith's commitment to work. So I'm going to say she's one of the chairs. And also then after that, we'll be considering how to set up the next chair. Is that right? So you're in it for a good year. There you go. Okay, so thank you, all of you who will be serving on the foundation board. We also have a committee for charter high schools, and I've asked Dr. Narini to take the lead on that, and he'll be joined on the committee by Mr. Burnett, our student trustee. So thank you in that regard. We have a need for a lot of work to be done around policies. That's a job that we as a board need to do on an ongoing basis. We've certainly appreciated Ms. Smith's leadership to that committee over the last while to accomplish so much of that work that we still have in front of us, particularly with the inclusion of strategic plan being unfolded. we will have Dr. Thor taking the lead on that, joined by Ms. Smith on that committee. So thank you for that. Dr. Thor, you'll also be handling the Chancellor Evaluation Committee, so greatly appreciate that. The Public Affairs Committee will consist of Dr. Thor, Ms. Bittersmith, and me for the time being, and we look forward to having a very active year around advocacy and public affairs, particularly tied to those things that you were talking about, Dr. Gonzalez, in your report. So thank you for that. We do anticipate a new committee being formed on course fees, and as Dr. Gonzalez forms that, Dr. Narini will be participating on that committee. I reminded our new board members that we're starting you off kind of small, but once you go to that training and once you learn all these other things that are open to you to do, you are going to be very busy, and we're going to work hard to make sure that you are very busy, because we know you're eager to do good work on behalf of our district. So that's how we're shaping up the committees. I also want to say that we had last week a proposed 23 governing board meeting schedule. I want to say that we're disrupting that already. Okay, so let me just tell you what that means. We were scheduled for a governing board retreat for February 10. Please look at your calendars for Friday, February 17 instead. I realize that is the Friday before the Super Bowl. There's some waste management stuff going on at the TPC, isn't that right? Barrett Jackson's already done, so we don't have to worry about that. But anyway, reason being that we want to make sure that we're adequately prepared with a draft of the strategic plan for that retreat. And it's in process of being written, and we want to ensure that when we see that draft with everyone's hard work represented, that we do see something that was well done. So we're going to take advantage of a few more days and convene then on the 17th. So if you can just switch your Fridays, I hope you're all available. Greatly appreciate that. That would also then mean on Tuesday, February 14, besides being Valentine's Day, we will begin with one work session rather than two, and that would be the financial aid work session, and then move from there into agenda review. We will not have the strategic plan presentation for a review at that time, not until we have the opportunity as a board to look that over. So those are the changes to the calendar as they exist. Stay tuned, you never know. Could be another change, but for right now, the rest of the proposed schedule stands with those modifications. Reminder again, we have a February 28 board meeting, probably with a work session beginning at 5. And with all of that good news, I'm going to adjourn us at 7:40 p.m. on Tuesday, January 24th. Everyone, thank you for joining us this evening. Great reports, presentations. Have a good week, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.